Hello and welcome. You're watching Mirror Prime with me, Ritangshu Bhattacharya. Viewers, as they say, never trust a snake because at the end of the day, no matter how many times a snake sheds its skin, it is still a snake. I'm very upset. Pakistan said, how can you put politics in front of cricket? Pakistan said, we are just here for the sake of the game. Pakistan said, we are here to assure you of your players' safety and we should not bring in politics in the form of a gentlemanly game. If you thought for a second that Pakistan was sincere with duplicity of the highest order, it announced that it will come up with a tour of the Champions Trophy in which essentially it will take the Champions Trophy across the nation to drum up interest, to build intrigue. The only problem with this plan is it decides, as we can get that map back on this card. Now, Muzaffarabad, as you can see, is in the western part of PoK and Skardu is in the Gilgit-Baltistan province. Interestingly, both these places, especially Skardu, has zero to very little cricketing infrastructure. So it's not that you can even cite the claim that you're going into a faces. However, the move has not gotten any green light from the International Cricket Council, which made it abundantly clear that no tour program has even been finalized, forget taking it to a controversial area like PoK. The BCCI is also fuming over Pakistan's attempted provocations. Also going to submit a detailed report to the ICC explaining the reasons why Team India is against visiting Pakistan, reasons which have already been put forward because Pakistan is going to use a hypothetical Indian presence for the Champions Trophy as a political point. Now, while the majority of us know why that is, let's skim through some of these reasons. Model for the Champions Trophy. What is a hybrid model? We saw it during the Asia Cup last year, a tournament which was also supposed to originally be played in Pakistan, but India made it clear that, listen, we are not going to go to Pakistan. And so India's matches, all up till the final, were played in Sri Lanka while Pakistan hosted the rest. Not get the BCCI to bring the Indian cricket team to Pakistan. Let's try and put that across to my guests at this point. Omer Altaf, political analyst, has been joining me from Pakistan. I am also being joined by Colonel Dilly, who is a retired defense expert, and also Chandresh Narayan, who is an author and a sports journalist. Let me about the gentleman's game. This is not about politics. Yet what Pakistan actually does is to take the trophy to Pakistan-occupied Kashmir in a blatant attempt to politically provoke India.
Look, Pakistan can take the trophy and host the tournament in any area within its jurisdiction. You know the history of Ahmedabad and hosting Pakistan-India match in Ahmedabad, trying to ignite that religious and hatred between. You know the history of Ahmedabad? Or I need to refresh your history.
Omar, do you know your own history? Which obviously the Pakistan cricketing team is in no position to play given how badly they're performing. They would have played it in Kolkata. Concessions were made to ensure that Pakistan plays in venues which are favorable to itself. So let's not, I mean, at the very least, don't come up with facts and figures when you don't know about it, and don't try and lecture me about do you know the history of Ahmedabad.
Ask your research team to brief you correctly on that.
Yes, but most of the matches were played in Hyderabad. Most of the matches were played in Hyderabad.
Pakistan had no objection to playing in any venue in India. We don't.
So what stopped you from pulling out? What stopped you from pulling out? Why did Pakistan not pull out? Did we ask? Did we?
Let's see.
Which we said we are not going to Pakistan. Now it's up to the ICC to decide what it wants to do.
ICC will decide, and Pakistan.
It's not our fault that the ICC finds India more valuable as a member and as more valuable as a host than Pakistan. Then it's only Pakistan to blame, right?
Pakistan is a responsible nation, and we will abide by.
It will be okay if you'll be. So you are saying that Pakistan will be okay if BCCI, if the ICC says that okay, we are going to put a hybrid model, Pakistan will be okay with that decision since it's quote unquote a responsible country.
Pakistan may not like it, but Pakistan wouldn't have an option in that case.
All right. Let me bring in at this point Colonel Dinny. At this point, Colonel Dinny. The fact still remains that Pakistan's reaction, now one can play the devil's advocate and say that, okay, yes, it's not a level playing field when it comes to BCCI, which are not favored to it. You can argue that. But the fact still remains that the very reason why India decides to exercise its muscle and decides to not go to Pakistan, even if it means jeopardizing potentially the entire tournament, is because India does not trust Pakistan's intentions about not politicizing the game. And that is exactly what has come in this.
I don't want to actually get into a kind of a rhetoric kind of a thing in which Mr. Omer had started. But since he mentioned about, the history of Ahmedabad and all, I think it's quite ironical that the Pakistani is telling us, you should just look at the history of Pakistan itself. It's 1940s. in this quarter, in the year of 2024, there was in the first quarter itself, there has been 245 terror attacks in Pakistan, in which 432 deaths have happened. November 9th, the latest, in Quetta railway station, was just happening in this particular year. Now let's see what happened when a Sri Lankan team toured in 2000. If I remember correctly, it was in a Sri Lankan team when it had landed there. Mahila Jayawardena, Chaminda Awaz, these were the cricketers. So Australia had, cancelled their tour to Pakistan. It is not India alone. So if they can't put their house in order, are we to be blamed? Now, can Mr. Omar give an assurance that everything is absolutely clear? There is no terrorism happening in Pakistan. Director or the foreign secretary is telling about Pakistan. Pakistan is the epicenter of terrorism. The whole world knows it, and then they have the audacity to take the so-called tour of India is always having competitions. We never have this kind of there is tour of the area. Why not the area neighboring Afghanistan, which by the way is doing very well, better than Pakistan in international cricket? So that is the place where they should be taking, so that there is awareness created. So clearly, on one hand, they cannot give a guarantee on security. On second, on every occasion, they want to politicize the generated in today's world cricket is from India. So even if PCB is running, opening their shop and sitting there, that is thanks to India. I don't want to make a big, bones about it, because we have not forgotten, Ritangshu, in 1987, when there was, in 1983, when there was World Cup finals, the BCCI snakes in their backyard. If they would have done, Pakistan also would have done the same. They have great cricket team, they have great cricketers, but unfortunately, a tradition, a policy of using terror as a policy.
Omer, would you like to comment on those points which have been made by Colonel Dinny?
Team has problems touring Pakistan. Isn't Australia aware of the security situation in Pakistan? Isn't England aware? Isn't New Zealand aware? Isn't South Africa aware? And the other 6 visiting countries aware? Or does India have some special insight into?
Number one,
but
and
why
number
do
two,
you
by
have
being
a selective
Pakistan's
policy?
neighbor, we are aware more of what is happening
policy?
inside Pakistan. Recent being the blast at the railway station at Quetta. Can you deny the fact that just a few weeks before there is a blast that happened in Quetta? It didn't happen in a frontier area. It happened in Quetta, where at least 30 people lost their lives.
A lot of terror.
You can't get away. You can't say that. I know generally I don't interrupt such things, but this is not.
No, but you should take your turn and then speak. You should allow me to complete.
When you're speaking on an Indian channel and saying that terrorism is happening, it is your government and Pakistan Army which is responsible for that, Mr. Omar. The rest everything is
it's not Pakistan. It's the people of Kashmir who are killing your soldiers.
No. It is only because of people like Pakistan Army which is there, and that you also know it, and I also know it. So let's not I don't want to get into a tutu meme. That is not my first hand. I've served 8 years there, Mr. Omar. So I know it. So I know how it happens. So that's why it hurts.
No, but you should also, your country is also sponsoring terrorism in Pakistan. The Commander Jadhav, the Indian naval officer in Pakistani custody.
Colonel Dinny, let's not continue this rhetoric. We'll go on at this point here. Let me also bring in Chandresh Narayan, author and sports broadcaster at this point. Chandresh, let's now play the devil's advocate at this point here. Is it hypocritical that when it comes to fixing India versus Pakistan fixture, because you all know the money that comes out of having a game like that, but on issues like this, then suddenly political fractures, political realities that come into the point here, should we not reach a point where perhaps India needs to take a time that we will not play Pakistan anywhere in any other country or under any?
So I know the functioning of the ICC to some extent, and just a point to what Colonel Dinny said. The trophy tour usually is the remit of the ICC, and it happens in India as well before a mega event. Yeah. It happened last year during the T20 ODI World Cup. And now to your question, Ritangshu, let me tell you, there is a complete misconception about ICC in India and generally. ICC is basically a member body where the member boards get together and become part of the board of directors where all decisions are taken. Why was that not raised then? And it is all very well Now, to turn around and say that we don't want, this is the issue. This should have been raised, flagged for 4 years ago. I think that's a mistake that was done because ultimately everybody, BCCI is also heads who are directed by the board of directors on what needs to be done. So the board of directors, basically the India representative, the other countries get together and decide. So my point is, 4 years ago, why was this not flagged? That is my major concern. And I think that you contest in every tournament, every men's tournament, as the major selling point, and that is what fetches them money from the broadcaster and the sponsors. Now, all this is also aware. This is also made aware to all the member boards. Again, why was this not flagged then by our Indian representative before an ICC tournament between India and Pakistan? My thing is, why does cricket only have to bear the brunt of mending relation between two countries? We allow our Davis Cup team, we allow our Kabaddi team, we have our bridge team. 35-member team of bridge team went over to Pakistan last year and Rahul Dravid. Why is
Not
it
just
that
mend
only
the
cricket
relations,
has
even
to
if it
bear
has to prove a political point, it only comes down to cricketing team. And again, if the question comes out, see, you're absolutely right. The argument generally come is, okay, let's hit them where the one it hurts in terms of the wallets were not going there, but economic arguments don't work when it comes. Think of when it comes to why the Indian Cricket Board did not raise this matter for 4 years, as you pointed out, because I think the BCCI had already made its stand very clear that the Indian team's participation will be subject to the Indian government, union government's go ahead.
Point is,
Yes.
when it was all the rights are being sold, whether it is broadcast or commercial or any other point, why was this not flagged? That is my point. Why is it that that we think that
All right.
only a cricketer needs to be the face of solving problems in the world?
A principal stand against Pakistan. Let's be honest at this point. There is merit in the accusations coming that we are being selective here. Because, again, if the external affairs minister can go for a multilateral international organization such as the SU summit in Pakistan, then the same logic can be applied that we are not going for bilateral tours, we are going for a
We all know cricket is just not a sports, it's just another sport in India. You can't compare it with billiards or, whichever sports. It is a religion in India and equally so in Pakistan. So, you can't equate cricket with any other sports. That is the fact of the matter. That's a reality. Ritangshu, the day Prime Minister went to Lahore, if I remember correctly, to attend then Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's one of the weddings in the family, he came back and within months there was an attack in India. So 4 weeks is too much of
within
a period
weeks, in
between
fact,
India
he
and
went
Pakistan.
for Christmas week and in January,
which has happened since in 2021, if I'm not wrong, December 2021 was when it was reinstated, the Champions Trophy. So there is a situation. Has the situation changed? No. So I think you can't compare why the other teams are going and why cricket is not going. Cricket is cricket. Cricket is a religion. And that is what sentiments are attached.
Political point against Pakistan, that remains to be seen. But yes, one can definitely argue that when it comes to cricket, it seems there's an unfair amount of pressure put from both sides to use it to make political points, whether it be India or whether it be Pakistan. Nevertheless, the fact remains that the stalemate continues over the Champions Trophy, and we need to see